BMW Group India has broken many records in the Q1 of this year. In January-March 26, BMW India has registered highest ever sales and is right now the #1 player in the luxury market if you look at Q1. Thank you so much, Mr. Hardeep Brar, for joining us today. Congratulations, spectacular numbers. What led to this amazing performance?
Firstly, thank you, Mugdha, for being here. This is our retail next door, and today we are having the first interactions in this store. So thank you for that. Coming to your question, 17% growth, and the number is 4567, which is very easy to remember. Interestingly, what really led to this growth are the 4 new launches that we did in Q1, which really helped. And very importantly, the narrative which is going on because of the geopolitical issue. And there's a lot of discussion on the crude oil prices and how the prices of fuel are going to go up in near future. And fortunately for us, we had this electric vehicle portfolio. We have 6 electric cars today in our portfolio, which are doing extremely well. And with all this narrative going on, the attention suddenly shifted to all the electric vehicles. And what we really needed to do was just increase the supplies. And that's what really worked for us. Our electric vehicles have grown by 83% in Q1. Last year, 21% of our cars sold were electric vehicles, and now it has moved to 26%. So a combination of new cars, especially a focus on electric vehicles, and we also expanded our network last year, and we are now present in 40 cities with about 100 touch points. That was the second factor. And last but not least, we brought in some financial products which really excited the customer, especially on the electric vehicles, because on one side, people were excited about electric vehicles. On the other side, they were apprehensive about the residual prices, how the resale prices are going to be. And we brought in products which gave them assurance of an assured buyback price. So a combination of these factors really helped us grow the market, and we have seen the numbers, fantastic numbers overall.
For electric vehicles, the way the Indian taxation is structured, the first quarter becomes quite significant because you get the full year depreciation benefit if you especially buy it in your business account. But your performance this year has been exceptionally good because this was the same case last year as well. So is the story because of the iX1? Because that was your launch and that has had a very good performance. And what are the numbers supporting this iX1?
So iX1, yes, has played a big role, but I wouldn't say the others have not done well. i7 has also done well. And I think your point is very valid. On one side, there was a story on crude, etc. But March being a depreciation month, and we all know on electric vehicles, you can claim 40% depreciation versus 15% on a normal car. And in 2.5 years, you claim, what you have really booked the car for. So that also was a very, very important factor. And so far as iX1 is concerned, yes, almost 75 to 80% of our sale is coming from iX1. And of course, as you go higher in the price point, the volumes drop. And same is the case with us as well. So I think a combination of all of this really worked in our favor.
Because of this, you have mentioned West Asia crisis. Do you think there is an impact and a decisive shift towards EV because of that?
I think short term, yes. And I think this will leave an impression on the consumer as well, that tomorrow, if it happens again, and we all know that we have held on to the fuel prices for a long time, despite the crude oil going up. So people somewhere will be apprehensive that if tomorrow fuel prices go up, so EV is a very safe bet, because not only your fuel prices, your running cost goes down, but also your maintenance cost is much lower because there are less number of running parts in an EV. So from an overall economics perspective, let's say you run car for 50,000 kilometers in 3 years, taking a ballpark cost of 10 rupees to a kilometer, you will pay 5 lakh rupees on a car, whereas on an EV, you will just pay 50,000 to 75,000 rupees. So that's a huge delta from a price perspective. And I've been asked that whether this customer is really concerned being in luxury.
Yeah.
But as Indians, we are all very calculative, right? And we don't mind if we can save money here and there. Who minds it? Yeah. So I think it works. And of course, this customer is also very environmental conscious, and he wants to contribute towards the society. And needless to say, from a government viewpoint, you reduce the burden of the import of oil, which really helps the overall country as well. So every which way, it's win-win to go for electric vehicles.
As we stand today, there is a ceasefire that has been announced between Iran and US. Now, the question is, the war went on for a fairly long time. Have you seen any impact on your supply side? Because supply side must have gotten disrupted. What are your plans to manage that? And also on raw material prices. While petrol prices have not gone up, but this will have a multiplier effect on raw material prices going forward as well. So what is your assessment? I know you took 2% hike recently, but do you think that there can be a possibility of further hikes?
So firstly, coming to disruption, fortunately, while it's not great for us otherwise, that we have lead times of 6 months for ordering, but we also have to stock up a lot of kits with us. And that fortunately is working in our favor right now, that we have sufficient inventory and kits with us not to get disrupted in near term. But of course, if this ceasefire doesn't continue and the situation doesn't come under control, in long term it can impact. But I hope this gets over. I think today is a good day, and I hope things come back to normal. Coming to your second point, in terms of pricing, I think more than cost of components, etc., what is really hitting us is the forex. Beginning of the year, it was about 100 to 103. Now it is operating about 108, 109 rupees to a euro. So that is really impacting us, and that has been the biggest reason why we took about 6 to 7% price increase last year pre-GST, and we had to take another 3% beginning of the year, another 1 to 2% now. So that is really pushing us to take more price hike rather than the commodity price.
Mm-hmm. So on supply side, you're sorted, but the forex situation is something that you're monitoring. Yeah. Now the question is that, do you think because the West Asia crisis has also impacted stock market, businesses, there has been an LPG crisis for commercial usage. So do you think the momentum that you have seen in the first quarter will continue?
So there are customers I know who are holding back. The customer which is dependent on the global situation, there are a lot of customers who are dependent on exports. The ones which are dependent on Middle East and also to an extent rest of the world are all impacted, and they are holding back. And that's what we saw during COVID times as well. There is a certain section in business class which holds on depending on the global economics. They are holding on, but the ones which are dependent on the Indian market, because Indian consumption is also very strong, we all know that, they are not so much impacted, and they're still continuing with it. And moment this situation is over, I think they will come back quickly. And we have seen the luxury dips first and also bounces back first. If this situation gets over, I think the bounce back could be very strong in the coming quarter, and that's what we are all hoping for.
Okay. Now, UK FTA came into effect. We saw some companies doing some price regularization. How does it impact your Mini brand? Are there products which will have a positive price positive impact?
So Mini, the Mini which we are getting in India is are getting produced in Germany. So we don't see any price impact on that. So that's where we are right now. For EU FTA is another 2 years away. So I don't see any immediate price impact on any of our portfolio because of the FTA.
But have you done any analysis on EU FTA? What kind of benefit it can bring to you?
So yes, once it kicks in, all the cars that we're importing now at 110% duty, but that's going to be 2 years later, beginning of 2028, they will get slightly cheaper. Then we also need to see how much we need to absorb, take care of our profitability, and how much do we need to pass on. But for 95% of the cars we are producing locally, I don't see a major impact on those cars because we are already having a duty of 15% to 35%, whereas on the CBUs, it will come down from 110 or 70% to 40%. So local manufacturing still makes sense. And from the electric vehicles, the benefit actually starts from the 50th year, not even from 2028. Yes. It will start in 2033. So for electric vehicles, no real benefit. So yes, it will give a benefit for that 5% cars which we are bringing in as CBUs, but that too after 2 years. So no real impact, I would say, in short term.
Okay, you had announced at the beginning of this year that you will have a slew of launches, 27 launches this year, some of them new, some of them updates. Can you give us what is your plan on your launches?
So we launched 4 cars in the first quarter. That was also one of the reasons that we could grow so well. We are launching another 6 cars in quarter 2 and another 17 cars in the second half of the year. Out of these 27 cars that we are launching this year, 6 are absolutely brand new cars, which are not existing. 4 big changes in the existing portfolio that we have, and 17 are profile changes and also some special editions that we are bringing in. And very importantly, 10 out of these 27 are coming in Mini portfolio. So Mini is a big focus this year. We want to really double the volumes that we are operating in Mini this year. And we are confident that we'll be able to hit those numbers.
Well, Mini also has a very small base.
Yes, absolutely.
So now, if I look at FY26, I know you follow the calendar year, but if I look at FY26, the numbers are now available and you have had a great FY26 as well, and most of the luxury market has had a great year as well. Now, but if you look at the broader picture, it is still a very small number compared to the Indian automobile market. We are now at 4.6 million for the entire automobile market, whereas luxury segment is 52,000, and it has remained around this 50,000 plus minus 1,000 figures for a few years now. How does that impact your decision making in terms of bringing cars? What are you expecting in terms of growth in the Indian luxury car segment?
See, right now when we are looking at luxury, we are looking at traditional luxury brands. But moment you start looking at from some of the price points of, let's say, 40 lakhs and above, you suddenly see this 1% is about 2.5%. And I feel this will become about 5%. So I feel a lot of customers are becoming more aware and they want to experiment. Till now, with our Gen Z coming in, right, who are not really, they want to enjoy everything in life, and they are not like traditional Indian who calculates that, how much am I saving, how much am I investing. I think they really want to enjoy life, and we have seen the Gen Z.
They go by YOLO.
Yes, exactly. And, they are kicking in. They are the fresh customers who are coming in. So the number of 5% that I spoke about, I think is really possible by 2030 with a fresh set of customers coming in. And also, I think financial products will also play a very important role in this, that how do you give these low EMIs or low down payment to the customers who are willing to come on this side. And I think leasing could be another thing which we are also exploring, that how leasing can really play a role in bringing these customers who just want to make sure that they pay a certain monthly installment, and beyond that, everything else is taken care of.
We have seen that at least another format of leasing battery as a service has at least got people to, to stores. Okay, now if this is the growth trajectory, that's very strong growth momentum that we are talking about. And I think globally, India will be one of the few markets which are seeing such high growth in luxury segment. Does that mean that India gets specific focus combined with the fact that there is Euro FTA coming in, special focus on India from Germany as well?
I think India already holds a very special place. Otherwise, you will not see so many launches coming to India. And every year we are clocking a growth of 15, 16%, and started with 17%. And as I mentioned earlier, India is the second largest growing market for BMW globally. That brings in a lot of focus on India. And we had quite a few number of visitors from Munich. it's getting special attention, and we hope we bring in more products, more localized products, so that we can expand the market even further and play a much bigger role in BMW Global.
I just want one last question. 27 launches. Have you done that before, or will this be a record year?
This would be one of the biggest number of launches ever. So, which is why this becomes a very exciting year for us, and which is why, as I said, we are looking at a very strong double-digit growth. It happened in Q1. Would like to sustain this performance going forward as well.
One last question. Sorry, I'm taking another question after the last question. But are you, as we stand today, a little bit more reassured about the growth trajectory of the country, of the luxury segment, compared to, say, 2 weeks back when West Asia crisis was at its peak?
Absolutely. As I said, the business class, which is dependent on exports and a lot of other industries like software, etc., when they get impacted, this customer suddenly goes into a shell and they wait for the situation to improve. With this news that we've heard this morning, I think the situation is only going to get further, and all this customer we expect to come back, because we have seen that post US trade barriers and then West Asia crisis, this situation will become better, and all this customer which has been waiting till now will come back into the main fray, and luxury is going to grow even faster than the mass market when the situation is back to normal.
And in this product portfolio that you're planning to bring, is hybrid something that you would want to consider?
No, the hybrids are not there, but there are a lot of electric vehicles. I spoke about 10 minis, and then we have some convertibles, SUVs, sedans. So you will get something of everything in this.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brar, for taking time out and talking to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.